Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is our third lesson where we're doing very much the same thing. We're going to be solving multi-step word problems after we do conversions, but now we're using volume. So our first time we did this, we were on length questions. Then we did weight questions. Now we're doing volume questions. And remember, volume is what goes inside of an object. So when we did volume with the formula length times width times height, we were talking kind of about cubic. We were talking about how many little cubes could fit in. Now we're talking about volume, meaning liquid. So how much liquid's going in a container. So our goal is we're going to convert volume measurements in order to solve multi-step word problems. So for the metric system, remember the world or international system, what they use in volume is liters. Okay, so they use liters. Okay, it could be abbreviated. Sometimes it's an L, sometimes it's a capital L. We're also going to be using mainly milliliters, which then will be an ML, or sometimes it's a ML that way. Could be either. You will also see a problem about kiloliters. That's not very common in what we use. So you'll follow the same steps, but more often we just hear liters or milliliters. And that's the metric system. Okay, now US customary system though, this is kind of a hard one because there's a lot to learn when we talk about what the US or America uses. So we saw ounces already in weight, but this is ounces in liquid ounces. So if you're talking liquid ounces. So I'm going to clarify, this is liquid ounces. And what you need to know about ounces is there 8 ounces equals 1 cup. So this is the smallest liquid measurement we have. Then we have cups. So cups would be, okay, what you might pour into something. So a cup, okay, so we already have 8 ounces equals 1 cup. Well, what you know about cups is 2 cups equals a pint, 1 pint. Okay. Pints are a little bit bigger of a measurement. What you need to know about pints are 2 pints equal 1 quart. Okay, what you need to know about quarts is 4 quarts equal 1 gallon. And then gallon, this is our largest measurement for liquid. Okay, a gallon, if you think about a gallon of milk, that's what I want you to think about. But this is our largest one as a gallon. Okay, so you might be asking yourself, how in the world are you going to memorize all of this? Because this is all what you're expected to know. You need to know this. All these different measurements. Well, I think if you think back in 4th grade, you probably did something called a gallon man. We don't really do the gallon man, but I have 2 things that could help you kind of remember all these. So in our notes section, one is a little story. So the story says, in Gallon Land, there were 4 queens, each with a prince and a princess, each with a pair of twin children who were 8 years old. Okay, now if you really learn that story and a picture that goes with it, it would be greatly helpful. I always use the picture when I do these questions because I don't even have all these memorized without the picture. So what I have is a big G. And if you think about if you just did this one time, then you could refer to it for the whole day or for the whole assignment. So in Gallon Land, so here's the land. in Gallon Land, there were 4 queens. Okay. Each queen with a prince and princess. Each prince and princess with a pair means 2, so a pair of twin children. So they have 2 children, each prince or princess. Okay, and each are 8 years old. The reason we remember the 8 years old is because a cup, 1 cup equals 8 ounces. So if I remember the 8 years old, it helps me remember that. Now, why is that so helpful? There's so much information I can get just from this picture. If I was setting up a table, we're gonna set up a whole bunch of little tables around here. And I was doing gallons to quarts. Well, how many 1 gallon equals how many quarts? 4 quarts. If I was to do another one, what if we were gonna do gallons to pints? Well, 1 gallon has how many pints in it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pints. What if we were going to do gallons to cups? 1 gallon has how many cups in it? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. We could even find more information we could use from this. What if we were going to do quarts to cups? Well, 1 quart has how many cups in it? 4 cups. So if you memorize how to make this one giant G, this Gallon Land with his 4 queens and each with a prince and a princess and each with their pair of children that are 8 years old, if you learn how to draw this, you could take tons of information out of it. Otherwise, it's really hard to memorize all of this. Okay, so our steps today are exactly the same as what they've been. We're going to first underline our measurements to determine if they're metric or US. Then we're going to check our question to see if our question tells us what measurement we have to use. Then we're going to, for step 3, we're going to actually do a conversion. Then for step 4, we're going to change the word problem to make all the measurements match. Then we're just going to attack a really challenging word problem. Okay, so what does this really look like? Well, let me grab a problem and let's try some. So here's my first problem. Fred is selling 7.5 gallons of sea salt at the farmer's market this Saturday. He will sell the salt in pint bags for $2.35 each. If he spent $27.89 on supplies, how much profit will he make if he sells all 7.5 gallons of sea salt? Okay, so first I'm going to underline my measurements. Okay, and then I'm going to say, I automatically know that's US. Those are US measurements. Okay, and when I check my question, it's actually asking how much profit did he make. So it's not telling me if I need to use gallons or pints, so I can choose either one. Okay, now I'm going to use a table because this is not the metric system. So I'm going to be comparing gallons and pints. Okay, so well, if I look at my picture, what do I know about gallons and pints? 1 gallon has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pints in it. So 2 gallons has 16 pints. 3 gallons has 24 pints. 4 has, well, what's my pattern? My pattern is times 8, so 32. Okay, but I need to get all the way down to 7.5. So, sorry, if I look at my pattern has been times 8. So let's come up here and figure out what 7.5 times 8 is. And I am getting 60. So 7.5 gallons is the same as 60 pints. Okay, so I'm going to come up here in my question, cross that off. I could cross it off down here too. Wait, that is half of the problem. I changed it to make sure now every measurement is about pints. Now I just have to figure out how to attack this. It says Fred is selling 60 pints of sea salt at the farmer's market this Saturday. He will sell the salt in pint bags for $2.35. If he spent $27.89 on supplies, how much money will he make if he sells all 60 pints of sea salt? Well, I first probably want to figure out how much he made when he sold them. So I'm going to multiply the $2.35 per bag times the 60 bags. So I get that. Then I have a placeholder. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 3 is 18, plus 3 is 21. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 2 is 14. Okay, and remember loops when you multiply. So I am saying that he made $141. But the problem says before he could make money, he actually had to spend money. He spent $27.89 on supplies. So to figure out your real profit, you have to say how much money did I make, subtract how much money you spent, and then whatever's left is your profit. So now let's subtract this. 0 I can't do, so I have to come all the way over here and borrow. That becomes a 10. Now I can borrow from it. It becomes a 9. So 10 take away 9 is 1. 9 take away 8 is 1. 0 take away 7 is impossible, so let's borrow. 10 take away 7 is 3. 3 take away 2 is 1. I am saying that his profit is $113.11. Okay, let's try another one. Ready? Okay. Antonio had a 2-liter jug of pink soda. She drank 650 milliliters. Her sister and her friend will equally share the remaining soda. How much soda will each of them drink in milliliters? Okay, so the first thing is we look at our measurements. And I see right away I'm using the metric system because liters is a base measurement. Meters, liters, and grams are metric. Okay, I also see that the actual problem says how much soda will each of them drink in milliliters, which means I don't get to choose. They want my answer in milliliters, so I need to get rid of this. So I'm gonna change 2 liters equals how many milliliters. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite my number with a decimal. And when I use metric system, I use King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. Okay, and then I'm using liters, which is a base measurement, to milliliters. Okay, and I am, for this problem, going to go from liters to milliliters. So I'm going to deci, to centi, to milli. So I went 1, 2, 3 to the right, 1, 2, 3 to the right, which means 2 liters is the same as 2,000 milliliters. Okay, so let's come up here and we're going to actually change it in our problem. Okay, so now that I have the same measurements, all my measurements are milliliters, I'm halfway through the problem. Now I just need to attack how to solve this. Okay, so It says that she had 2,000 milliliters, but she drank 200 or 650. Well, if you have something and you drink it, that sounds like subtraction to me. So that's what she had. Let's subtract what she drank. And I'm getting, oh, sorry, 0 take away 0 is 0. I had to borrow for this one. 10 take away 5 is 5. 9 take away 6 is 3. This is how much she had left after she drank. But then it says her and her friend, her sister and her friend will equally share. So her sister and her friend are 2 people, and they're going to equally share this, which means divide this. So 2 people are going to share what was left. So let's see, 2 doesn't fit into 1, it fits into 13 6 times. 6 times 2 is 12. 2 fits into 15 7 times. 7 times 2 is 14. And 2 fits into 10 5 times. 5 times 2 is 10. Okay, so this means that they each get 675 milliliters. And that is our answer. Okay, so let's try some together now. And I know these are very long problems. All right, here is our first one we are trying together. Okay, 2 pints of helium are enough to fill 5 party balloons. Helium is sold in a 3-gallon tank. How many balloons could Helen fill for the party? So let's underline our measurements. Okay, and I notice right away that it's not metric system, because metric is meters, liters, and grams. So it's US. I also notice the questions wants to know how many balloons she fills, so I can choose either one. Okay, so we need to make a table with gallons and pints. Okay, and if I look here, what do I know about gallons and pints? Well, 1 gallon has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pints. Okay, that doesn't really help me yet. 2 gallons has 16, because I'm seeing the patterns times 8. So 3 is 24. So instead of that, we're going to say 24 pints. Okay, so 2 pints will fill 5 balloons, and they have 24 pints. So how many balloons is she gonna fill? Well, now you just have to find a way to attack it. I might kind of do a table and say, with 2 pints, that's gonna equal 5 balloons. So with 4 pints, she can make 5 more balloons. With 6 pints, she can make 5 more balloons. With 8 pints, she can make 5 more balloons. With 10 pints, she can make 5 more balloons. With 12 pints, she could make 5 more balloons. And notice every 2 pints, she can make 5 more balloons. So this method works. It's maybe a long method. It seems like it takes a long time for this method, but it does at least work. So I'm just, every 2 pints, she's gonna make 5 more balloons. So I'm coming up with, when she had 24 pints, she made 60 balloons. So it kind of took a long time, but when you're solving these, you just have to find what works best for you. Okay, what works best for you. Okay, let's try another one. This one says, the PTA is barbecuing burgers for all the students in the school. They have a total of 9 gallons of propane gas to run the barbecue. If it takes 3 quarts of propane to cook 63 hamburger patties, how many patties will they be able to cook? Okay, so I see 9 gallons and 3 quarts. Okay, so again, I notice I'm using US system. I also notice the question's asking how many patties are they gonna cook. So they don't care if I'm using gallons or quarts. Okay, Okay, so because it's US and not metric, we're going to use a table. And this time we're comparing gallons and quarts. So let's look at our little picture. What do we know about, let me first write, what do we know about gallons and quarts? Well, I know in the land of gallon, there were 4 queens. So 1 gallon equals 4. But if I use my picture, 1 gallon has 4 queens or 4 Q's also. Okay, so 2 gallons must have 8. 3 gallons must have 12. We need to get all the way to 9. Can we skip ahead? So what's the pattern? What's happening there? Hopefully you see the pattern is times 4. So I'm saying 9 gallons is 36 quarts. So I'm going to kind of cross this off on my notes. Okay, and now that's half my problem. Half my problem is make all the measurements match. Now we just need to attack this, and it's a pretty hard word problem. PTA is barbecuing burgers for all the students in the school. They have a total of 36 quarts of propane propane gas to run the barbecue. If it takes 3 quarts of propane to cook 63 hamburger patties, how many patties will they be able to cook? So I could solve this exactly like I did up here. I could say with 3 quarts, it's going to equal 63 patties. With 6 quarts, it's going to equal another 63 patties, so that will be 126 patties. So I could keep going using that strategy, and every time I have to add 63. Or for this one, I have maybe another idea. I could, because I know every 3 quarts is going to give me 63 hamburgers, I might want to find out how many 3 quarts I have. So if I have 36 total, that means I have 12 3-quart parts or pieces. Well, with each 3 quarts, I can make 63 hamburgers. And if I have 12 3 quarts, that means I can multiply 63 times 12. So let's see what I get. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times that is 12. Then I am saying I can make 756 patties. So that's just a different strategy. If that one didn't make sense, you could have continued with this one. It just would have taken a lot of work. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this was our 3rd video that was very similar. I hope we're starting to feel a little bit more confident. You have 2 problems and rating yourself. Have a good evening. Good night.